Okay. Greetings. This is Griff Ruby, and I have the awesome privilege of Father Ray Steichen, and I was wanting to kind of introduce him a little bit and to talk about a number of issues that are pertinent to the state of the Catholic Church these days. And it's good to bring in somebody who's got a kind of expertise that few of us today can lay claim to anymore, because anyone can pick up books on theology and canon law, but it's a different thing when you've had real instruction from live professors, and that gives one a somewhat different perspective on things, wouldn't you say?
I think so, Griff, yes.
Yeah. But why don't we start from the very beginning? And, maybe just a little bit about your family life, where you were born, your family, where you went to school.
I was born in Adams, Minnesota. I'm one of 10 children.
Wow.
And I went 8 years to a Catholic grammar school. And I was a special friend of the nuns because they didn't get communion at church. And so I requested that I go to communion with them in their little chapel. And the wonderful thing about that was, and I'd get to my desk in the morning, lift it up, I always had a candy bar. Now, guess who that came from? But anyway, after 8 years of grammar school, I went to California, to Richmond, California, and started another 4 years of seminary life, which was very, very good. I enjoyed it. I was kind of the gardener there. I had a green thumb. And I had a garden probably 100 feet by 200 feet, and I helped feed the seminarians. So, but anyway, after
What was the name of the seminary?
The seminary was St. Francis Seminary.
Okay.
Yeah. And after those 4 years, I went to Newton, New Jersey, for 1 year novitiate and then 4 years of college. During the year of novitiate, after the year, I became a Salesian, taking 3 vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. And anyway, 4 years later, I graduated from the college, which I enjoyed very much, and then I was sent out to California to start helping pay the bills back that they put the money out for me. Anyway, I started teaching 2 years in Watsonville, California. And the students of Watsonville, California were all from broken homes. In fact, I even had the students before I got there Bing Crosby's family. They took care of all kids that had, needed special attention. But I enjoyed it. I taught 8 hours a day when I was at Watsonville there, and then took care of the kids, on the playground and in the church and in the dining room. And those 2 years went fast, and then I went from that place. I went to Don Bosco Tech in Rosemead and spent 1 more year teaching. And then after that year of teaching, I was sent to Italy for 5 years of theology at the Pontifical University.
Okay, so now we're up to about 1960 or so.
Now we're up to 1960 already, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
And so I had a very eventful, a very wonderful time studying theology. I enjoyed it. It was, a learning process. We had a lot of time to ourselves, a lot of time to read, and I tried to take advantage of that. But our professors were all good. It was still old class, right? I mean, it was nothing of the Novus Ordo.
Right. Even though we're looking at 1960 to 65, and especially 62 to 65, you've got Vatican II going on. But it sounds to me from what you're saying before that the professors pretty much kept that out of the classroom.
Yeah, we were isolated from Vatican II, in spite of the fact that some of our professors took part in it. But they never brought back tidbits of knowledge, what's going on and what we can look for in the future. So we were kind of blind to what was happening. But during that time, the Salesians, theologians, they were already working on the liturgy, and they were designing all the new liturgy.
Well, it wouldn't have been just Salesians so much. I mean,
everybody had a freedom of what they wanted to do.
Everyone was involved in this thing, yeah.
And I was amazed at the way I had nothing to do with it, and I scarcely took part in it. I tried not to take part as much as I possibly could. But they had a free hand in whatever they wanted. It just seemed like the Catholic literature now was in the hands of anybody who wanted to take advantage of that and do what they wanted.
But did you see that during those 5 years? I mean, obviously not in the classroom, but maybe when you went to the church on Sunday for mass or something. Well, did you see any?
Where in the 5 years when
those 5 years from 60 to 65, you're in school.
Well, 65, we had mass right there in this.
But was it? Were they doing crazy masses?
Yes, they were.
So they were already.
They
So you
already
were seeing some screwball stuff.
Oh, absolutely.
And nobody commented on it. You come back to your classroom like this
They
was
loved
normal.
it. It was fun and games.
You'd come back to your classroom and it was like none of that had happened.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But
So-
a number of them, these were brilliant students. They were specialists in that. They put on entertainment. They were entertainers.
Right.
And they loved it. The wilder they could be, the better it was.
But that didn't sit well with you, did it?
No, I didn't enjoy it.
Yeah,
I
it
didn't enjoy it.
just didn't rub you the right way. I mean, you'd seen the other, you'd known the real mass
Yeah.
all your life, and now here you've gone to the Pontifical. What exact university was it?
Yeah, Pontifical University. They call it the Crocetta.
Crocetta.
Yeah.
Sounds suitably Italian.
Yeah.
Do they have like majors, like you major in this or that, or it's just you go
Yeah,
there?
no, they did. They did. After the 5 years, you could go on for a doctorate.
Oh, and then
I
you have a
didn't.
major.
Yeah, I'd have a major.
But at your level,
No.
everybody just gets standard
Yeah.
theology.
You
Okay.
could specialize.
But you covered a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, you would learn, well, maybe you already knew Latin, I would assume.
Yeah,
but,
with Latin.
But you would learn what?
We had Latin being used in
Yeah.
college. The professors spoke Latin to us.
Right, and you would have had,
And we had to do our exams and things in Latin.
right,
Yeah.
and they would have classes in philosophy and,
And theology.
canon law
Oh, yeah.
and
Everything that
ecclesiology,
a
all
priest
this
had to know, we studied.
Yes, right, pastoral,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Like you say, everything. So that was a good education there, it sounds to me.
Yeah.
Real serious and worthy one. And you've already got a background and involved teaching, so that's kind of he who teaches, learns twice, as they say, and he who sings prays twice, it's one of those kinds of things. But so finally you come out of all of this. Now, up until this point, you still haven't been ordained as a priest, even as you...
At the end of it.
At the end of that.
65, I was ordained.
65.
February 11th, 65.
February 11, they ordained you.
I was ordained a priest, yeah.
And then they set you, what was your first assignment as a priest?
First assignment was at Don Bosco Tech Electronics
Okay, so you're still back, now you're back teaching
in
again.
California, Rosemead,
But
California.
they didn't give you a parish church or anything?
No, that was for the old timers, the parish
Okay.
church. I mean, it wasn't.
They didn't give you a parish.
No, they didn't give it parish. No, I'd requested one at the end of my 7 years at Don Bosco Tech, but it didn't come about.
Interesting. So did you ever have such a thing at some point, maybe later on, or how did that work? Did you ever? I don't know. I mean, I guess my question is, it sounds like you didn't actually have an ordinary priestly assignment in the conventional sense of being a parish priest. This parish, faculties, etc.
Well, you're right there. Most of the Salesians did not have parish priest time. They didn't have time. They were always in the classroom.
Ah, interesting.
So we didn't have, our parish priests would be the church we had in the seminary.
So yeah.
Yeah, but not without, the
But you were
public
the-
was not invited.
It sounds to me like, in other words, your priesthood, you might say mass for yourself, or maybe
Yeah.
a few fellow seminarians,
Yeah,
but from time to time or whatever. But it sounds like that was it,
that was it. That was it.
So that's kind
But
of
see, after I was ordained, I was shipped right out to Rosemead, Don Bosco Tech.
right.
And I went there and I started teaching electronics, took over the electronics department and religion department.
So they had you teaching electronics and religion.
Religion, I had, I don't know, 3-4 classes.
Right.
And math, trigonometry, I had
Math.
3 classes.
Right.
So,
So you're teaching all these different subjects, and obviously, at least you have students under your care.
well,
and
the
guidance.
main
Yes.
thing was
Yeah.
to teach electronics,
But
even
the-
more the religion,
Right.
because these students really wanted to learn. I mean, this was their livelihood later on.
Yeah.
So they were excellent students, high IQ students. And I never told them my IQ. I don't know what it was, but but they were really wonderful. They were very good, very respectful to the kids in that school.
Sounds
Because
like
we
they're
had a
serious.
discipline that was just, you didn't have to say it twice. They knew exactly we meant business.
Yeah, sounds like a good way to run things,
Yeah,
very
they-
efficient.
Even
Now-
even teaching the classes, I never had a problem.
So we're looking at maybe 1965 to
Yes,
1972.
yes,
Now, you might have done masses on your own,
yeah.
and you would have done what, just the traditional mass by yourself, or with whatever few people you might have with you, or did
Well,
you-
I did the traditional mass when they started it on Muscatec Heaven. What do you call it? All the priests together. What do you call it? What do you call it?
Oh,
A mass
priest
with
gathering.
20, 30 priests.
okay,
And I never joined them. I never once joined them.
yeah,
I saw what they were doing.
Yeah.
I said, no, not for me.
right.
So I continued my priestly life, so to speak, at my lunch hour.
Hmm,
Yeah.
interesting.
But that was the end of me because they didn't look kindly upon that, being independent.
Right. Well, maybe we have time for one more little story before we'll wrap up this first segment. But
Okay.
I like the one you were telling me earlier about you wanted to write a report about Hans Kung.
Yeah,
And,
when it got to my last years in theology, we had to get our theses. We had to pick a subject, and so I picked the subject Hans Kuhn because I was very familiar with Hans Kuhn. I had read his books, and I enjoyed reading them, and I was just amazed at what he was doing. But anyway, I presented it to at least 3 different professors, and they all said, "Oh no, don't even talk to me about it." But because of that, I think I got my black bean. I mean, when they chose me for the priesthood, you have 5 beans, white and black, and if you get 2 black beans, goodbye.
Right. But when you wanted to talk about him and you had enjoyed reading, it wasn't that you thought he was really great and smart.
No, I knew it was destroying the
It
church.
was bad. It was bad news. It was like you didn't want to push Hans Kung's agenda. You wanted to take
I was
him
not
apart.
on him, not on his side.
You wanted to take him apart.
Yeah.
That would have been your thesis, but maybe they didn't understand that.
No, they didn't.
So
They probably never read it.
no.
They heard that it was bad news. Yeah, they didn't push things like that at
So
all.
it's interesting that they were conservative enough to want to say, "Why are you studying that crazy idiot?"
It was
Not
just-
realizing that you're not studying him like you admire him. You're
Yeah.
taking him apart.
And there was no explanation at all. I just
Yeah.
told them, and they said, nope.
So you got your black bean, but
Yeah.
you only had one, so apparently it takes 2
That's
black
right.
beans to
Become
stop
a
your
priest.
priesthood. So he squeaked by on that one. So, okay, well, that's an interesting piece of, it's all this is some interesting history, and I'd like to pick up with the next piece, where we can kind of pick up where we left off.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.